This video is kind of a follow-up to yesterday's video about being a cow-calf operator in this part of the state. You know, I think farming or ranching in Alaska is just so much harder than it is in most places. I was thinking about that because I was in Washington State last week and I was looking at a lot of farms and I thought, my God, it is so much easier to farm when you're not battling the cold and the snow. As an example, it snowed yesterday, oh, maybe about 6 inches or so. But it took literally an entire day of 2 people on a skid steer to clean just this area that's in here. And so it took a couple $100 of fuel and labor to clear snow. And after a full day of work, I had accomplished nothing except to be in the same position I was in before it had snowed. So if you live someplace where you don't have to battle the extreme negative temperatures and the snow, I can only imagine that farming is going to be easier. I'm not saying farming anywhere is easy work. I'm a farmer. I understand that it isn't. But when you add all of the work of farming on top of the fact that you've got to manage the cold and the frozen and the ice and the snow removal and the bullshit, it definitely adds a lot of extra work. And to be honest with you, as I get older, I'm beginning to seriously wonder if I'm going to be able to do it this way in this cold, because I have to do all of the chores on top of managing the cold. It's going to be 6 below at night this week. You know, that's not that cold compared to what it'll probably be in December or January. But it's cold enough that I need to take extra time to make sure my animals are okay, that they've got a place to bed down, that they've got some extra calories, to make sure that the waterers are not frozen solid. And if they are, I'll have to water these animals by hand. If you can imagine how much work that would be, filling stock tanks with a hose. We're talking hours a day of just standing there. So I think farming and ranching in Alaska is extremely difficult. And of course, this is only my perspective. I'm sure that the other farmers in places like Delta Junction or the interior, where all the large farms are, have an even harder time. But I can only imagine how quote-unquote easy it must be to farm a ranch in Georgia or Texas. And I know you guys have problems down there with your drought and your other issues. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I'm simply saying that I think being a farmer in Alaska is probably a lot tougher than in most places. So, you know, I'm just going to keep trucking on for now, and we're just going to see what's going on. These guys are trying to round up those calves and get them away for the night and get them onto dry bedding, because it's going to be cold whenever it's clear like this. You know, the real cold is coming. So, all right, well, we got to go back to feeding here and getting these animals ready for tonight.